but I think that the challenge is that certainly the perception is that policies that will make it easier for our children have the potential to make it harder for me, right? Like policies that make it easier for my children to own a home and form a family close to where I live in downtown San Francisco or Oakland or Manhattan or Boston or whatever, mean that, maybe I will lose some rights, or, I'll have to relinquish some of my NIMBYist perspectives. I may have to live with lower home prices or give back some of the lottery gains that I've had on my own home. There's at least a perception of a bit of a zero-sum dynamic at play, right? If the boomers, let's just say the boomers, I don't want to, but let's say homeowners have won the lottery over the last 20, 30 years, right? If you owned a home and that's just accelerated over the last 2 or 3, but also over the last 5, et cetera. So if, we can largely divide the population into those who've owned a home prior to kind of 2020 or 2015, and those who don't and are looking to form households and start families near attractive urban centers. And so how do we reconcile that type of dynamic in a non-zero sum type of way?
So I think actually, again, I would suggest that increasingly we're moving away from that. So homeowners in San Francisco, while recognizing that the theoretical price appreciation of their home is very high and would likely retreat somewhat in the event of additional construction, are increasingly saying, hey, wait a second, unless we attract young, vibrant families into San Francisco's going to be overrun by homeless people. All right, nobody wants to live in San Francisco, especially the people who live there. Just ask Paul Pelosi, right? Like nobody actually wants to live there anymore.
Except those who own multi-million-dollar homes in Greater San Francisco, and I mean, obviously,
I'm gonna push back on that. I actually increasingly would argue that those who are in those cities recognize that what they've established, unless they truly turn them into gated cities, right, and gated communities, they're facing increasingly third world conditions that mean that they can no longer enjoy the properties that they own.
Okay, well, let's take that forward then. Let's assume that's true. So what type of policies might come to fruition then as people begin, and not just in San Francisco, but in general? No, I generalize this away from housing. Right. But
right. So you're already seeing this. This is part of the point that I would make, right? The recall of Chesa Boudin and replacement by a relative conservative in Jenkins. You're seeing this in Los Angeles, where they're doing the same thing. Even Portland is talking about going Republican, for God's sakes, right? Now, does Republican necessarily mean good? Absolutely not, because we've got crazy policies on both sides. I was, just spending time complaining about the meanness associated with DeSantis, right? And the broad recognition that this just cannot stand. We cannot actually have this type of behavior and expect to maintain coherence in our society.